From ABC News, World News Sunday, here's Sam Donaldson.
Good evening. Secretary of State George Shultz publicly distanced himself today from the Reagan administration's Iranian connection. And in an unusual declaration for the cabinet officer charged with responsibility for foreign policy, said he cannot speak for the administration's future conduct in this matter. More on the story from Karen Stone.
While careful not to directly criticize the president's authorized shipments to Iran, Secretary Shultz let it be known today he cannot speak to the point of whether additional shipments will be made.
As far as I'm concerned, no.
Do you have the authority to speak for the entire administration?
No.
For the Secretary of State, the president's chief spokesman on foreign policy questions, not to be able to speak authoritatively for the administration on such a vital issue clearly puts Shultz in a difficult position and calls into question his continued effectiveness.
But after the president, I would have thought that the Secretary of State did speak for the administration, and I hope that he does. It is important for any administration, even if there are significant divisions within it, that once a course of action has been set, for all of the key elements of the administration to be fully conversant with what is going on.
Either the President and the Secretary of State come to an agreement, which is what I hope, or there will have to be a separation.
The White House has complained about public discussion of this matter, but Secretary Shultz seemed to take issue with that view today.
And I might say that all of the public discussion has probably helped somewhat, because it has kind of confirmed the fact that, cruel as it may seem to the families involved, and we all can feel that, still, it isn't the right thing for governments to trade arms or anything else for hostages just because it encouraged taking more.
Shultz was asked if he considered resigning.
I serve at his pleasure, and anything that I have to say on that subject, I'd just say to him.
Repeating claims that his knowledge of this whole affair was fragmentary at best, the Secretary of State, after not being a key participant in the administration's secret change in policy, is now publicly outlining his distance from that policy. Karen Stone, ABC News, the State Department.
Congressional critics of the Iranian connection have lost no time in organizing hearings on the matter. Committees in both houses will hold them this week, and the Democrats are clearly loaded for bear. Sheila Cast has details.
President Reagan's view as he returned from Camp David was that the public knows the full story of the Iran connection. He was asked if the U.S. has stopped sending arms to Iran and answered, "I told you the truth once." But the intelligence committees of both houses will try to learn more when they hold hearings this week. The president's national security advisor, John Poindexter, says he probably will not testify. On This Week with David Brinkley, the Senate committee's ranking Democrat hinted his party may avoid confronting the president on the issue of executive privilege.
I think it's immaterial in a way if Admiral Poindexter does not come up. The director of the CIA will come up and will talk to us.
It will fall to CIA Director William Casey to carry the president's rationale to Capitol Hill. Members of Congress already are demanding to know why Congress was not told about the weapons shipments when Mr. Reagan approved them 10 months ago, whether Casey himself was specifically ordered not to tell Congress, and whether the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff was not told, even though he's a member of the National Security Council.
This was not a military operation, so it's not unusual that the chairman of the JCS would not be aware.
Without waiting for hearings, the Democrat Senate leader repeated his denunciation.
It was a massive political blunder that undermines the credibility of the administration and the nation and puts at risk not only the getting back of hostages, but also our future overall strategic objectives in the world.
There's fairly wide support for what the president says was his main goal, laying the groundwork for ties to Iran after the Khomeini regime. But Congress intends to pursue whether dealing for hostages superseded that goal and whether the president violated his own anti-terrorist policies. Sheila Cast, ABC News, the White House.
White House Chief of Staff Donald Regan was quoted today in the New York Times on the way he sees his job after things have gone wrong for the president. Recalling the recent missteps of the disinformation campaign, the Iceland summit, the Senate elections, and now the Iranian connection, Regan said, "Some of us are like a shovel brigade that follows a parade down Main Street cleaning up." In the Middle East, the president of Syria reacted harshly today to new U.S. sanctions against his country, even as former U.S. hostages explored approaches toward freeing those still being held that may include Syria. Hilary Bowker reports from London.
Today in Damascus, President Hafez al-Assad denounced President Reagan's allegation that Syria is involved in international terrorism. It was a rare public appearance, and the first time Assad has responded to charges that Syria supports terrorism. It came on the heels of Washington's announcement of diplomatic and economic moves against Syria. Assad proposed that an international committee be formed to determine the meaning of terrorism. He said the real terrorist is Ronald Reagan. Former hostage Lawrence Jenko arrived in London today. Tomorrow he, along with the Reverend Benjamin Weir and David Jacobson, will meet with Terry Waite and church representatives. They'll discuss the release of the Americans still held hostage in Lebanon. Jenko told reporters he'd rather see the hostages remain in captivity than make arms deals to secure their release.
We're trying to find out some ways and avenues to get our brothers released from captivity other than arms.
In Chicago, Weir said he hoped there'd been no arms deal connected with his release.
I would be distressed if my release were contingent upon some further escalation of the conflict between Iran and Iraq.
David Jacobson appeared reluctant to say anything that might jeopardize the release of the Americans still held hostage in Lebanon. Jenko says tomorrow's meeting is to refocus the humanitarian and religious aspects to try and secure the...
There were conflicting signals today from Nicaragua in the wake of yesterday's conviction of U.S. soldier of fortune Eugene Hasenfus. The country's vice president hinted that Hasenfus's 30-year sentence might be commuted. But the justice minister said the Nicaraguan penitentiary system would guarantee that Hasenfus fulfills his sentence. In Marinette, Wisconsin, Hasenfus's hometown, his relatives are tying red, white, and blue ribbons around trees to keep his plight in the minds of the American people. Coming up later in this broadcast, Corazon Aquino. Does she have what it takes to lead the Philippines to real democracy? Miami Hurricanes quarterback Vinny Testaverde, the odds-on favorite to win this year's Heisman Trophy, and a visit to California's Club Mud.
World News Sunday, brought to you by General Mills.
Raisin Nut Bran.
Took the wrinkles out of raisins and the blah out of bran.
Hey, my raisin's got nuts on it.
Look at mine's nutty too. We took raisins, plump and juicy, and rolled them with nuts. They said we couldn't do it, but...
Nut-covered raisins. So that's why it's better.
People like Raisin Nut Bran better than ordinary Raisin Brans because our raisins aren't ordinary. They're plump, tender, and the wrinkles are filled with nuts.
They took the wrinkles out of raisins and the blah out of bran.
Raisin Nut Bran.
Mention decaffeinated coffee to a lot of coffee drinkers, and this can happen. To them, decaffeinated just doesn't have enough flavor, enough aroma. But now there's new Brim. It's aroma blended to give you a rich aroma, a full-body flavor. So for some people, it's new Brim or nothing.
Brim?
Brim?
Uh-huh.
Oh.
Brim?
What do you think?
Fill it to the rim with new Brim.
Supporters of Philippine President Corazon Aquino took to the streets today, marching through downtown Manila, denouncing her chief rival, Philippine Defense Minister Enrile. President Aquino told a rally of 15,000 people that she wants to be known as a leader of peace. But if communist insurgents leave her no choice, she is ready to lead a war. Although she's extremely popular among her countrymen, there is grave doubt among U.S. officials as to whether Corazon Aquino has the organizational savvy and political clout to establish firm control over the Philippines. The story from Bob Zelnick.
She brought them to their feet on Capitol Hill, winning an extra $200 million in U.S. aid. The same in Tokyo. Big welcomes and big money. But back home in Manila, problems for Cory Aquino. Yes, she remains wildly popular. And yes, military opponents like Defense Minister Enrile lack the power to replace her through coup or cabal. But American strategists worry that President Aquino's inner circle includes too many left-wingers and self-promoters. Nor has she developed plans to reform her country's feudal economy, attract international investment, and prosecute the campaign against communist insurgents.
She still has wide popularity across the nation. No one sees an adequate substitute for her. On the other hand, she hasn't shown herself adept at the process of governing.
While Aquino has scheduled a constitutional referendum for February and more general elections for May, she has formed no party or organization able to seize and hold the political center. So while Manila factions battle among themselves, last week's unsolved murder of Labor leader Rolando Olalla being the latest example, the communist insurgency grows, from 6,800 full-time fighters 4 years ago to more than 23,000 today. Mrs. Aquino's defensive strategy has enabled the communists to initiate nearly all clashes with the military, and really and others want to go on the offensive. But American policymakers insist that Mrs. Aquino must do other things first.
It'll be necessary in the very near future for her to put into effect a comprehensive counterinsurgency plan, one that encompasses all the problem areas, the economic, the social, the political, and the military.
While fervently hoping that Mrs. Aquino moves to establish a political program and the organization to implement it, Washington is trying hard to discourage would-be coup-makers.
We, without hesitation, without reservation, support the government of Mrs. Aquino and Mrs. Aquino.
U.S. policymakers see the Philippines approaching a crossroads. With the right mix of personal strength, external support, and domestic reform, Mrs. Aquino could lead. With continued drift, the Philippines could become the world's biggest banana republic, or something even worse. Bob Zelnick, ABC News at the Pentagon.
Two more notes from the recent elections in this country. Minnesota's Treasurer-elect Mike McGrath is being criticized for misrepresenting his experience. McGrath told the voters he was a management consultant. But now that he's won, it's come to light that he actually earns most of his income from driving a cab part-time. And former President Nixon has weighed in with his assessment of what lies ahead. In a memo obtained by the Washington Post, Mr. Nixon says political pundits who are predicting cooperation between President Reagan and the Democrat-controlled Congress are smoking crack. When we come back, the heated debate over creating a new black township in South Africa.
Full-figured women love to tell us how well just my size pantyhose fit.
I'm writing you a letter, sending it today, mailing it first class, 'cause I just had to say I'm yours.
No more tug of war.
Sincerely yours.
It is just my size.
Yeah, I'm yours. Just my size. Sincerely yours.
Thanks, legs.
Cadillac Eldorado for 1987. It takes your driving pleasure very seriously. A fuel-injected V8, a four-wheel independent suspension, and the luxury of Cadillac comfort in the form of fine leathers with technology for today, and at your option, rich American walnut. Eldorado inspires confidence, as does its new longer warranty. Eldorado, the driving spirit of Cadillac.
For gas pain and bloated feeling, Gas X has the fastest relief ingredient. Look, gas bubbles in beer. Add the leading antacid, add Gas X. Gas X got rid of the gas. Gas X has the fastest reliever for your gas pain and bloated feeling.
2 out of 3 home fires start in the kitchen. Get the kitchen fire extinguisher from First Alert. It's specially designed for the kitchen. First Alert, because your family comes first.
The leader in long-distance service now costs less. AT&T has lowered weekday and evening prices 13.8%, the largest single reduction in our history, but not the first. Since 1984, our prices overall have dropped more than 20%. Of course, you can always look to AT&T for the highest quality service, and now, see where our prices have gone. AT&T, the right choice.
Police opened fire in South Africa this weekend on members of a black labor union leaving a meeting in Durban. At least one man was killed. Police say union members provoked them by throwing rocks and bottles. Meanwhile, the South African government is involved in a growing controversy over a proposal to build a new black township near Johannesburg. Details from Jim Hickey.
They call it the Green Belt. A scenic, remote area north of Johannesburg, reminiscent of Iowa or Nebraska. Ideal for farming. Here is where the South African government wants to build a new black township. The proposal has generated heated protest on both sides of the apartheid debate and has raised questions about the government's real commitment to reform.
We are not fighting this thing on a racial basis. For goodness sake, we're not fighting it on a racial basis.
White South Africans in this area describe themselves as the mink and manure set. They are, for the most part, wealthy, many of them horse breeders and farmers. What they fear is that all this will become this. This is the township of Soweto. Residents of the Greenbelt complain the government wants to create another Soweto, another black ghetto with pollution, overcrowding, and high crime.
How on earth can they expect to shove so many people and create another slum area? And this is what we're totally against.
Some whites, however, openly admit they just don't want to live near blacks.
People are different, and they're expressing their difference now by objecting to having these people foisted upon them.
The new township plan, says the government, is designed to relieve overcrowding in other black communities. Apartheid opponents say that is ridiculous because so much vacant housing already exists in white areas. Indeed, some blacks have managed to take up residence in previously all-white neighborhoods. To build a new separate black township, say the critics, is evidence the government really has only one aim in mind.
Clearly, to perpetuate the present divisions in our community.
Like much of South Africa's efforts at apartheid reform, so far, the proposal to turn the Green Belt into a black township pleases hardly anyone. Jim Hickey, ABC News, Johannesburg.
When we return, Miami Hurricanes quarterback Vinny Testaverde, the likely winner of football's coveted Heisman Trophy.
What would you do if someone added sugar and salt to your cereal? You know, many cereals come with sugar and salt already in them. Up to 26 added teaspoons a box. But not Nabisco shredded wheat. The only thing in shredded wheat is the natural toasted goodness of shredded wheat. Nabisco shredded wheat. The only thing added to it is what you put on it. Nabisco.
Going to Providence St. Mel in the heart of Chicago is something special because almost every graduate goes on to college. And thanks to the people at Dow, we get scholarships, money for this old building, even books and tuition so my teacher could go after his PhD. Says he'd love to pay Dow back with a scientist.
Yes, you can make a difference in what tomorrow brings.
Maybe this scientist.
Dow makes you do great things.
Tell all the world.
That label stands for quality.
It stands for fashion, and it stands for America.
And that's why it matters. So ask for and buy Made in the USA.
Tell all the world America matters to you.
Aren't you going to say anything about this Pontiac 6000?
Oh, you mean about how well it handles, how quick it is, how it's one fine road car?
Well, yeah.
Come on, if I said all that, we'd sound like a car commercial.
We will excite.
Singers will do that.
Pontiac.
Troubled by bad breath, hiding your face in shame because nothing seems to work? Then naturally you need a Milk-Bone dog biscuit. Every delicious crunch of Milk-Bone helps scrape away plaque and food particles that can lead to bad breath. In fact, no other leading dog biscuit gets your teeth naturally cleaner and whiter or your breath fresher. Get Milk-Bone dog biscuits because naturally every dog wants fresher breath.
Scientists are making tooth and gum decay things of the past. Monday, watch ABC's World News Tonight.
Joining us now from New York, Dan Lovett with today's sports news. Dan?
Thanks, Sam. It has been said that field goal specialists in the NFL face the loneliest life of all. You miss one, and they're looking for a new kicker before you have your shoes unlaced. But today, Giants kicker Raul Allegra went 5 out of 6 to keep everyone happy in New York. His 32-yarder in the closing seconds beat the Minnesota Vikings. In Atlanta, Bears quarterback Mike Tomczak, with a nice push from the fridge, scored Chicago's lone TD in today's win over the Falcons. The Miami Dolphins turned back the Bills, that game in Buffalo, and the New Orleans Saints are out of the cellar in the NFC West after a win over the St. Louis Cardinals. While the bidding war for a Penn State-Miami postseason bowl matchup is over. The winner is the Fiesta Bowl in Tempe, Arizona on the night of January 2nd. Miami coach Jimmy Johnson announced today that his unbeaten Hurricanes will take on Penn State, providing the Nittany Lions close out their season without a loss next Saturday. Should Penn State lose, Johnson and his Canes will have the option of selecting another bowl. And while most teams in the NFL are still studying the math that could deliver them to the playoffs, others are subtracting the games that will soon lead one of them to this year's winner of the Heisman Trophy. The top-ranked Miami Hurricanes have the prize they are after. Quarterback Vinny Testaverde, who turned 23 on Thursday, celebrating the occasion with a typical 2-hour practice in the Florida sunshine. One of the 5 finalists for the Heisman a season ago as a junior, Testaverde seems unchallenged for the award this year. And in fact, any other name inscribed on the coveted trophy would surprise many of his faithful.
I think I would be very shocked if they would have called any name besides Vinny Testaverde.
That will not happen. Vinny will win the Heisman Trophy.
I don't expect anything, no. I would like to win, yes. It would be a great honor for me to accept an award like that.
We got our fingers crossed. We pray every night. It's a big thing in this house.
Even before Vinny's birth, Al Testaverde said he had a vision, that he would not only have a son, but one who would become a great quarterback and Heisman Trophy winner. And from the very start, he nurtured that dream.
Well, when I hoped that he had something special was the day he was born. But you could see as a child, his agility, the way he moved, the way he threw the ball, that he was going to be an athlete. Yeah, at about 13 years old, 14, I see he started to excel. You know, I knew he was going to turn out to be a little something special.
I never stopped feeling like a kid. I think that's what keeps me going, and football is a game, and I like to play games, and the reason why I like to play games is because I feel like I have the little kid attitude in me, you know, and still living inside of me, and I hope it never dies.
But there was a time that spirit was put to the test. As a freshman, he sat and watched Jim Kelly lead the Hurricanes to a national championship. Then it was Bernie Kosar who won the Canes' starting quarterback spot. And with all of his athletic ability, Testaverde's patience was tested. He even considered transferring to another school. And ironically, it was his friend Kosar who convinced him to wait for his chance.
You know, he really worked hard, never lost hope in his own abilities, and it's paid off for him because he's obviously the best player in the country right now in college.
Testaverde has produced a perfect season so far at Miami as the Hurricanes lead all the polls in the race for the mythical national championship. He will soon have the chance to follow Kelly and Kosar into the NFL as the family dreams of a Heisman Trophy and a professional football career are close to realization. As the sure number 1 pick in the NFL draft, Vinny will gladly play for whomever selects him.
As long as it's in the NFL, my son will play for him because that's his dream. He'll play for Indianapolis, Green Bay, the Coney Island Warriors, whoever. As long as it's the NFL.
As a kid, I dreamed about it, and I never had a particular team I wanted to play for. So now that I'm in a better position, I'm not going to change my dream and stick to the basic dream and say I'll be happy going anywhere.
It's a big, big dream come true. It's unbelievable, unbelievable. If it does happen, I'm still waiting to see if it's going to be true. Sometimes I pinch myself, I don't believe it.
Well, I believe that family comes first before anything, because without them, you have nothing. And then there's trying to get your team goals and then personal goals. If you get your team goals, personal goals will take care of itself.
Well, Testaverde realized another of his personal goals last night, surpassing Bernie Kosar's all-time passing yardage record at Miami. And the next family meeting for the Testaverdes will come December 6th when the New York Downtown Athletic Club names its Heisman winner.
Thank you, Dan. In a moment, Getting Down and Dirty, California style.
Well, here we are, our very first staff meeting.
Yeah, and we're both here.
How's the computer committee coming?
I found one, cheap. Maybe even a little less than if we bought it at Computerland.
But can they teach us to use it like Computerland?
Well, no.
Fix it if it breaks like Computerland?
No.
How about talk to us?
Ooh, no.
Oh, think maybe we should just go to Computerland?
All in favor of Computerland, say aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Got our way on that one, didn't we?
You know, I doubted I'd ever work again. You see, I have a bladder control problem, and it's serious. But I found the protection I need with Attens.
The Attens Wraparound Brief.
The brief with the patented one-way lining. This special lining draws wetness into an absorbent core and helps trap it there. Trapped to help stop accidents.
Okay, kids, safe now. No doubt about it.
Help take the doubt out of protection with the TENS.
Beam aboard the Starship Enterprise for Star Trek IV this week on Good Morning America.
It is widely considered bad form to approve of mudslinging. In the recent elections, everybody complained about it, even though almost everybody did it. But now, that perceptive student of the human condition, our own Judd Rose, has discovered a place where mudslinging is publicly admired. And approval of it is definitely considered good form.
And now, today's forecast. In the east, snow. In the Midwest, ice. And in the west, mud.
It's real gooey, sticky. I feel like a pig.
This is the life.
This is indeed the life at Glen Ivy Hot Springs, or as it's more widely known, Club Mud. Yes, while you and yours are back east covered with ice, the trendy folks in California are getting slime with designer mud. It's mined in the nearby hills, mixed with mineral water and heaped into this pool, allowing the health conscious to get down and dirty.
It feels kind of gross to have mud all over your body, but I did it.
This sort of mudslinging has been popular for many years in Europe and the Orient. There, it's usually reserved for the filthy rich. But here, it's dirt cheap. Last year alone, 70,000 came here to join the mud pack. Supposedly, it has miraculous health benefits, although there's no scientific evidence to support that. It's also supposed to be a great facial.
Well, don't I look marvelous?
I think I look like the creature from the Red Lagoon.
A face only a mudder could love. After you spend some time baking your clay coating in the sun, you get up and dust it all off. And after that, you can go inside and get slimed with seaweed. They call this the Sea Algae Body Pack. Here's mud on your thigh.
There's nothing like this in Ohio anywhere.
That's true. Mud maniacs say only California produces that special kind of clay and water. But you can take it with you. Places like Neiman Marcus offer their own, $30 for 4 ounces. Now, why would anybody pay so much for so little? What's the appeal? It's not just the alleged health and beauty benefits.
Makes you feel like you're a kid.
Don't take her word for it. Ask an expert.
I love mud.
Why?
Because I like it. Because it's so squishy.
Well, go ahead and laugh if you want to. The people here at Club Mud are laughing, too, all the way to the bank. It's a dirty job, but somebody's got to do it. Judd Rose, ABC News, Glen Ivy, Hot Springs, California.
That's our report for tonight. Carol Simpson will have more news later on the Weekend Report. I'm Sam Donaldson. For all of us here at ABC News, good night.
From Washington, this has been World News Sunday. Tomorrow, watch World News Tonight with Peter Jennings. You can't be everywhere news is happening, but ABC News can. We'll bring you the world. World News Sunday is a presentation of ABC News.
On the Disney Sunday Movie, Cindy Williams and John Denver know how to run an orphanage.
This home is history.
What are we going to do with the children? Fire them?
Plan B is now in effect.
This is war.
Get ready. It's time to save the leftovers.
Pizza Hut Thin and Crispy Pizza has a thin, delicate crust. Thinner than that. It lets the flavor of your toppings really come through. No, thinner. And it's crispy for a pizza quite unlike any you've ever had. You call that thin? The sauce tastes tangier, the cheese cheesier. So for a pizza that lets the taste of your toppings really come through, make it thin and crispy pizza. Only at Pizza Hut. You're getting there.